Hola, and welcome to Chile. I'm Aiden Welsh, and assisting me today to tell the story of Chile is David Sizer. Welcome to the beautiful coastal land of Chile. Chile is a narrow strip of land running down the entire west coast of Latin America. Because of the vast amount of land that Chile covers, Chile is host to vastly different climates. From the driest desert in the world, the Atacama Desert in its north, to its glacial south. Chile has 7 different climates. Today, scientists consider it one of the most diverse places on Earth. Chile's history is extremely vast, reaching far before imperialism reached their land. Early history in Chile dates back 10,000 years, when migrating Native Americans called Araucanians, such as the Quava de Milodon and the Paliaki, moved to coastlines and central fertilized lands in Chile. These ancient groups of peoples form the more modern residents of Chile, named the Mapuche. Many native groups, such as the Incas and the Tupacs, attempted to conquest Chile, but the Mapuche successfully resisted all attempts by these foreign empires and other groups to subjugate them, despite their lack of state organization. Conflicts went on for the next thousands of years, and at the time that the Spanish arrived, many Araucanian societies inhabited Chile, none possessing ruling power. The Araucanian societies were a fragmented, unorganized group of hunters, gatherers, and farmers. The Araucanians had no written language. Instead, they spoke a common oral language called Mapungadon. The most powerful group in Chile were the Mapuche. The Mapuche were a tribe of people with wide-ranging ethnicities who inhabited central Chile, possessing a traditional economy based on agriculture, and living in a group consisting of linked extended families under the control of their chief, named the Lanco. The Mapuche had a religion based on mythology, worshipping their ancestral spirits, Pilon and Wang. The first imperialist activities occurred in 1535 in Chile, when Spanish conquistadors from Peru came to Latin America seeking precious metals such as gold and silver. The conquistadors began gradual conquers, utilizing sheer numbers to oppose local resistance. By 1540, the conquistadors had fully conquered Chile. However, very little gold and silver existed in Chile, and the conquistadors soon sought other value in their newly conquered land. Eventually, they came to realize Chile's agricultural value. The Central Valley of Chile was extremely fertile land. In 1550, Spanish imperialists forced Chilean farmers to grow European plants and animals such as grapes, wheat, horses, and cattle. However, lands in North and South Chile were too harsh a climate for agriculture, and because of this, they remained relatively unchanged by imperialism. Eventually, the Spanish conquistadors managed to subdue the native people, although minor conflicts continued throughout the years. The native peoples of Chile were systematically massacred throughout the conquest. Those that survived were enslaved and treated as completely inferior, just above the stature of animals. Immediately after the conquest, the fertile land in the middle of the country was split into estates, or haciendas. These estates covered 90% of the region. In the Congo Valley, for example, 98% of the land was owned by 3% of landowners. Obviously, the peasant natives got little to no land. The landowners relied on cheap labor of the agricultural workers and had little interest in modernization. These workers lived in terrible conditions, however. For the most part, peasants never had a chance to prosper, as in some other nations, but rather a rigid class division between rich and poor remained. Relations between the Europeans and the native peoples produced a large mestizo population. At its history, the Spanish inhabitants of Chile were more or less content with the Spanish crown, and did not try to break free from it. However, when Napoleon invaded Spain in 1807 and replaced the current king with one of his brothers, doubt began to arise. An idea that Chile should be ruled by local rulers until their old king returned began to form. This idea was taken into action in 1810, when José Miguel was declared president. There was much tension between him and other groups, however, and soon a civil war erupted. This made people grow to want permanent freedom. During the war, Spanish troops from Peru took advantage of the chaos and recaptured Spain. Bernardo O'Higgins, a rebel leader, escaped, but the remaining population was punished and pushed into camps. While in exile, O'Higgins worked with José de San Martin, whose army defeated the Spanish in Chile in an assault over the Andes in 1817. Chile's independence became absolute when San Martin defeated the last large Spanish force on Chilean soil at the Battle of Mapu on April 5, 1818. The freedom and the struggle itself, however, was mostly one for the upper classes. Poor workers gained little to no benefit. Currently, Chile is one of South America's most stable and prosperous nations. It leads Latin American nations in human development, competitiveness, quality of life, political stability, globalization, economic freedom, and low poverty rates. It also ranks high regionally in freedom of the press and democratic development. The majority of the population of Chile consists of people of European descent. Chile also hosts a large mestizo population. Today, Chile has a dynamic, market-oriented economy, characterized by a high level of foreign trade, although central areas of Chile are still heavily based on agriculture. Today, Chile remains the world's fourth largest exporter of wine. Chile is now renowned for its increased development and liberal ideals. It is still considered one of the most developed Latin American nations in the world. Chile today is a land of wondrous beauty, and nature still rules the majority of its land.